Valheim? It's hard. For the past month, I've been playing 100 Days of Valheim. It seemingly is one of those games that feels rather easy, docile, and not too hard to understand the basics. It has the everyday Minecraft feel, but lurking in the shadows, something far more sinister awaits. For to live in the world of Valheim, a Viking must take an arduous path, and arduous it was. For this Viking, Berserker, decided to step his game up and show the world just how hard this game can be. Cause there's one answer I want to know. Is it true? Is Valheim really that difficult? Well, it's time to find out for ourselves. The new era. In this era, I loved the start. Let's be real here. Nothing makes me harder than a rock. And luckily, I had a couple of rocks with a whole bunch of bosses. With the limited knowledge of this game that I had, I decided, hey, let's go explore. We marked our map for usable bases to rest at and rebuild. We found Eikthyre's location from one of those stones in the beginning, and we pinged important areas for future exploration. At this time, I also decided, hey, we should probably gather. Gathering food was important. That meant we needed some boars, some beehives, and deer. And who could forget our favorite strawberry bush? Personally, I love beehives because if you manage to snag a queen, you can regrow a beehive yourself and farm it endlessly. On the path of gathering, I also decided to get material, and we needed lots of flint. Along with flint, we also needed the hide from the boars and deers, giving us more reason to go out there and hunt. As for our tools, well, it took a little longer, but we built up to it. We managed to get ourselves a spear, knife, and bow. We took on our first boss, Eikthyre, on day 3. It was not hard at all. Seriously, it was possibly the easiest boss I had ever killed. After I crafted some fire arrows, I decided, hey, maybe I should just take him on. But before we killed him, I had wished for a few things. For one, I wish we would have explored way more before killing him. For unbehest to ourselves, there was severe consequences every time you take out a boss. I also should have established the base first, because we were lugging around everything and we were way too full to do anything about it. After successfully taking down Eikthyre, it was our official bump in difficulty, because at this point, we have explored enough of our map to know that we are nothing but water and islands. Our means of transport meant one thing, a boat, and the original boat, it was ass. It takes forever to travel, and honestly, I had the worst struggle to find out how it's even used. With our tiny boat, we reached the Black Forest. Here, everything tries to kill you. Mobs consistently spawn in their attempt to murder you. It's relentless and it's super annoying. If you thought having a grayling attack you endlessly, well, it doesn't stop here and actually gets worse. Instead, I mined ores off the coast, slowly obtained what was needed. I floated back to base, but I quickly found out the ocean plus a trashy boat equals a terrifying time. Realization kicks in. Boating is too hard and it's way too slow, especially in getting all the ore we need and hauling it back. We need a new base. So again, this means we have to prep our foods, tools, except this time it'll be a giant hammer available after Eikthyre. As I explored the dark forest, I found a little spot that I thought would be useful. I cleared out all the enemies and it was a stone base. I set up camp, dove into the delves, and it was easy with the hammer and shield. At some point in these little delves, I discovered the second boss's location, the Elder. I made my first ever portal. I decided to break birch trees by slamming into other trees. Worst idea ever. At this stage of the game, I called it the Bronze Era. We sat on this new profound spot for a very long time, gathering copper, tin, and building all the tools I would need. And finally, I got access to something so important, it would change the rest of the game, the Carve. So now we have reached the exploration era. The Carve meant it was open sea travel at a very fast pace. And not only was it fast, it also had storage. For the first time, our boat could carry something more than just me. I ended up finding a swamp biome and way more dark forest. Once we reached the Elder's location, I marked all the veins and delves around the map. In exploring, I not only found a trader, who by the way didn't really have much for me other than just clothing, and scarily enough, I even ran into a village of Draugr. Oh yeah, I ran. Now you may be wondering, why would you run and why were you so terrified? You see, at this point, I didn't have any sort of portal set down. So if I had died here, I would have honestly had the worst time of my life trying to reach this area. Finally, I decided on the second official spot for my base, the Elder's Temple. We arguably have spent the longest time here. We did not put our time to waste. We immediately dug underneath the temple, carving out the best livable space possible. I ended up making it the official ore farm, because let's be real here, it's snap dab right in the middle. That means not only is all my ores like copper and tin close by, but it also gives me a chance to go find all the delves and bring everything back at a reasonable pace. With that, we decided to upgrade everything from the forge to the workshop, and boy did we have so much to upgrade. This meant way more gathering. By the time it hit day 20, suddenly I felt a little bit feisty, cocky. I don't know what it was, but I said, hey, I should take on the Elder. And I did. I took on the Elder, and I died. What the? A tree killed me! The problem was, it actually stays there, even when you die, so I couldn't really escape the fact that I started this fight. So I quickly found out how it worked. Its attacks consisted of two things. One, it would shoot off a whole bunch of branches that track you down. Luckily, it seems like the Elder's not too smart, and if you use the pillars around you, well, you can block off a lot of the damage. Just don't let it hit you, cause it really hurts. Secondly, he summons little tentacle branches on the ground. Now, the easy part is if you run away from it. The bad part is if you don't have enough stamina, you're gonna have the worst time trying to not only run from things, but shoot him as well. You may be wondering, why did you take on the Elder so quickly without preparing? Well, I wanted to get over my hump. You see, in all my games, I never take challenges head on. I tend to spend quite a long time gathering and finding everything out I can about the game. But by the time I even reach the boss, I'm already bored and end up just dropping games. So, this time I just wanted to get it over with. Kill the boss with what you have. And kill the Elder I did. There we go! Let's go! Fuck yeah. Oh my god. I've never felt prouder in this moment as I quite literally staked his head on a pike. Day 20 marked our second boss kill. The deception of the first two biomes was by far the biggest thing that I noticed. Let's be real here, I really did not die during the entire time of the meadows and the dark forest. My first deaths ever were truly from the Elder himself. The challenge overall was not hard. I could almost always outrun all the dwarves, trolls, skeletons, and anything else that came at me. Delves were completely simple considering Stagbreaker would just wreck everything. Skeletons were incredibly dumb and the AI wasn't too hard to figure out and block. Ghost, although scary, could be killed behind doors. I smashed all the bone piles within the delves, and although dwarves such as brutes and the green guys can be really annoying, it wasn't as terrible. This, again, was the deception. A false sense of security. Right after the Elder, my pain truly began. The swampy madness. Now was the time to farm for everything. This was to ensure that we had the best odds possible before moving over to the swamp biome. The copper around me truly felt fear because I was going after it. As you could tell, there were even some moments that I don't know how this troll ended up in this, but you know what? It was easy to kill him. We learned the swamp was right next to us, luckily close by the trader to our south, the mess up. Look, I decided to travel. I got bored. I don't know why I decided to travel, but I did. And down I went, and that's when I found another swamp. Thinking that there wasn't really anything that could happen as long as I stayed a little bit away from the swamp. Well, that was my mistake. I got murdered. You gotta be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. And this was not good. I traveled decently far and I had no way to get here with the teleporter. So this meant one thing. You know what it is. It's hell on earth. That's right. I learned a harsh lesson. Never go into another biome without being prepared. Because by God, we went all the way back on our first boat ever crafted. And when I tell you that I never want to do that again, I truly mean it. And if you thought that was bad, it just kept getting worse from here. After getting all my crap, I logged off that day because I knew I didn't want to risk anymore, and to be honest, I was checked out. But when I came back, let's just say I got wrecked more and more and more. I learned to avoid the plains and the swamp biome for now. Returning to our swamp nearby, it took all my courage to say screw it, let's nosedive into the swamp and figure out what the heck is in here and how to take it on. Blob seemed easy, until it squirted all over me. And all of a sudden, this poison was really eating into my health, and there was no way to stop it. Aw, I was doing so good. And since I have never experienced the swamp, I didn't know a lot, and this only becomes better as time goes on and I figure out new recipes. But for now, it was not the best time. The draugrs hurt like hell, but I learned how to manage. I pushed further into the swamp and found green fires, found a crypt, entered it, and for the first time ever, got iron. Scrap iron? Oh shit. The excitement was truly palpable. I got out of there fast. I stored all my items and I built a mini base nearby because these corpse runs, they were tiresome. The swamp was vastly different than the last two biomes. The difficulty spiked like crazy. I was dying left and right, and everything was beating my ass to a pulp. You could even start hearing my frustration come out. Unlike the other two biomes, for the first time, I started facing real tilt, but I never gave up and slowly got iron items and recipes like the stonecutter. This was the truest progression I have ever felt in this game. The reward to difficulty was so great, it felt insane when I made some tiny little accomplishment. All the new items I received, such as the iron axe and the iron pickaxe, well, they were even better than before. The weapons got even stronger, and I even got to build something that I never thought I would have. The longship. This baby had more storage and durability. Sick and tired of no real home, I finally began building my own house. After all this time and deaths and continuous farming, I realized too many problems and no real home. I was sick and tired of it. We flattened the area near our initial peninsula base and we started to build. We're gonna start wrapping up this video, so bear with me as we recount everything we've done so far. As we entered our building era, let me just say that it was amazing. I don't know why it felt way more satisfying than building in Minecraft, but it did. Maybe it was because I got my ass kicked so much in the swamp and the adversity I faced that somehow having an area to rest at and finally be safe felt so amazing. The gratification I felt from building was something I haven't felt in a very long time. I went ahead and built a cool storage and food prep area. This would end up being my saving grace, not only because I could start sorting through all my items, but because I could start making foods that would help me so much more as time would progress. I explored the map way more using our new boat, found another swamp, found the Bonemass boss, which by the way was not expecting it here, but hey, this works out very well. Tried taking it on. I honestly got my ass beat quite a lot. The poison on this man is hurtful, and I was so terrified to take him on, but I decided to just do it because if I didn't, I would never get around to it. I kept getting killed, so I knew this was the time where I had to make potions. At least, I had to make the meads and everything else, and I never done that, so it took some time. After it swings, you get a couple of hits. You can parry it and get a couple more hits. It's poison, although will hit hard if you have the poison potion. By God, does it help you tank a lot of it, and you can actually get a nice couple hits inside of that freaking fat stomach of his. After killing the Bonemass, it felt amazing. Truly one of the best feelings I've ever had in this game. Yo, fat ass, give me that wishbone. Holy shit, I did it. The adversities I had so far, it paid off in this moment, as I hung his fat blobby head onto the stone pillar and gained the ability to take on way more fights and take less damage. Then I entered the mountains. Dear God, what have I done? God fucking damn it, man. I hate this game sometimes. Ow. Like, what the fuck, man? Just, I can't catch a fucking break. So yeah, to answer this video prompt of whether Valheim is hard, from my progress so far, Valheim rewards the well-prepared and thought-out individual, and punishes those who try to rush through it with no knowledge. Meadows is easy, it truly is. The Black Forest may give you your first bit of adversity depending on how comfortable you are with games. The swamp? Well, this is probably going to be your first real challenge. The mountains? Well, they're painful, but once you start getting it down, well, let me just say that it gets a lot more easy. But this is not to say that if you don't get swarmed by wolves or other tough enemies, you will die. You cannot just go around challenging everything and not expect your whole body to break apart. This has happened to me countless times in the mountains. So yeah, I stopped there after 100 days as I mainly spent the rest of the time exploring, building, and not finding the fourth boss. Valheim is fun and you should try it. Should I try hardcore? I hope you guys enjoyed this video and thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the video and what you'd like to see next. Again, this is JonnyShrimp signing off. Until next time, guys.